Inception. This is a review by Confused Matthew, and making her debut is the lovely Baffled Beth.
Hi everybody, yes, I do exist. I know you all thought that Confused Matthew was just like some 40-year-old virgin sitting in his mom's basement, but no, he really does have a girlfriend.
Yes, I am 40 years old and I am a virgin, but it has nothing to do with whether or not I have a girlfriend. She is real. So we just got back from seeing Inception. As she is new, I am going to let Beth go ahead and say what she thought first, and then I will say what I thought, and then we will talk about it. So what'd you think?
Well, I mostly liked it. It wasn't perfect, but I just think that it was a little confusing.
Yeah.
But it was mostly good. It was really interesting. They had good special effects, really good special effects, and the acting was great. It had issues, but for most of all, it was good.
I liked it too, and I'm sure that that's going to come as a huge shock to a lot of people because I have a reputation for not liking ambiguous kind of plots and ambiguous kind of endings, but this fascinated me at every moment that it was on, and it never lost me. And even though it was kind of confusing here and there, I stuck with it the whole time because I'm fascinated by idea-based plots anyway. And it kind of reminded me of, this was obviously heavily inspired by The Matrix, except this was a lot more interesting, it was a lot more well-written, it had characters that I cared about, it was more insightful. For as confusing as it was, that actually didn't hinder my enjoyment of it whatsoever, and I don't think it was perfect either, but at the same time, I can't really think of anything that I didn't like about it or that didn't work for me. But the only complaint I had is that I wasn't really jumping out of my seat about it. It was good, but it wasn't like I wasn't blown away. But I thought it was really good. Was I the only one who was thinking that this was kind of like a cerebral Ocean's 11?
I actually was thinking that as we were watching that, as he was going to make his team, I was literally thinking this is like Ocean's 11. I was gonna say that.
Ocean's 11 in the mind.
Funny.
Yeah, maybe that was a lot of people's take on it. I didn't really like Ocean's 11 very much, but this was really cool. Joseph Gordon-Levitt, holy crap, he impressed the hell out of me in this movie.
Yeah, he did a really good job.
I'm just
Far Cry from Third Rock from the Sun.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I'm so used to seeing him in a comedic role that I didn't think I was gonna be able to take him seriously, but I really did.
He was bad in that. Just it was a completely different role.
Yeah, totally. And I always like Leonardo DiCaprio. And
I've always liked Leonardo DiCaprio too.
I know that he was really good in this. So basically, what's happening here is that it starts out to where there's this group of people who is going into other people's dreams, and at first they're extracting information from their subconscious, and then somebody in the film wants to turn it around and actually implant a thought into somebody's head, which apparently is really difficult to do. And that kind of thing always really fascinates me, and I started thinking about things that the movie probably didn't even really want me to start thinking about, like, just the whole idea of everybody keeps on saying, we're in my dream and these are my thoughts and your thoughts and this and that and the other thing, and I started thinking, like, what is this me that is independent of your thoughts, and what is this me that is independent of your ideas?
You mean the subconscious?
Yeah, like everybody is talking about, there's this theory that either the mind is synonymous with the brain or it's not, and this movie actually kind of makes you start thinking about, how much are we independent of our brains, and how much is us, and how much is our thoughts independent of ourselves. It's probably just me because I'm really interested in the philosophy of the mind, but it kind of got me thinking about things like that, things that The Matrix did not make me think about. Because I know that Christopher Nolan had said that he was heavily influenced by The Matrix here, but I think this was leaps and bounds better than anything that The Matrix did.
Thank God, because I hated The Matrix, so...
I liked it. I liked The Matrix, but The Matrix was basically just an action film with a cerebral element tacked onto it, is how I thought. And this kind of blended well.
It's the opposite.
Yeah, it was.
In fact, I was thinking as I was watching it that I almost felt like they added, the projections of your subconscious, those people that were chasing them. I almost felt like that was kind of tacked on, as in like they just had to have more action.
Well, they had to have kind of a consequence. Yeah, they had to have a consequence when you go in there, because they made it very clear in the beginning, which I was kind of thankful for, that if you die in a dream, it doesn't fucking matter. So what is the consequence of you going into somebody else's mind? And they had to put that.
Well, yeah, but the consequence was because the last job that they did was a different formula.
Right, I know, but
but you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Just all these random people that are just attacking them just for the sake of...
I kind of thought that too, is like, is that really going to happen? You don't know, because you can't go into somebody else's dream, obviously, but if you did, is that going to happen? Probably not. It's probably just something that they kind of dreamed up. But I liked the whole thing about the layers upon layers upon layers of dreams, which people have done dream movies before, but no one's ever approached it that way. And everything is kind of folding in on itself towards the end when you have those three dreams that they're in. And that was really interesting. I think a lot of people had a hard time keeping track in the end, but I didn't have a problem.
Yeah, when they got to the snow area, I was a little bit like, why is it in snow? Like, it was just to be in a hospital, I guess, so that guy could talk to his dad in the hospiel, but why'd it have to be in, like, the snowy tundra?
I kind of thought that, too,
I didn't understand what was going on.
Well, my only complaint with that was that the snow dream wasn't very interesting, and I thought the other two dreams were.
It was superfluous.
Yeah.
It didn't make any sense. It could have been just a regular hospital. Why'd they have to make it so difficult to get there? Because they were like,
because it was
20 minutes to get.
Well, because it was a fortress, I guess, that was keeping that memory safe. Yeah, I guess. So I guess they had to
make it seem to that guy that he was delving into his own mind.
Yeah.
The other guy. Yeah.
But it's really interesting. I don't think a movie that's based on going into other people's dreams or other people's consciousness has really been approached in this way. Like, usually, I remember The Cell, which wasn't very good, but that was mainly done just to do a lot of abstract special effects. There are effects in here, and they're really great. But this movie centers around an idea, and it centers on a character that once you start getting involved in his subconscious, and when his subconscious starts fucking with everybody else's, it really gets kind of interesting, and I kind of got wrapped up in it. Like, how was he going to reconcile the memory of his wife, and is that going to make or break their mission? I really thought this tied in well together, and it's always a big test for me when people say, you might have to go back and watch this a couple of times. I was thinking to myself, would I want to go back and watch this again? And I actually would. I actually would watch this a few more times.
Yeah, I think maybe on a second watch, you might pick up little things that...
Yeah.
Not that I got caught up and I understood what was going on, but there might be more layers that you can understand on a second watch.
Yeah. I just felt that, unlike The Matrix, and I know this is the third time I brought it up, but the comparison is just constantly being made. The Matrix was all about action. And interspliced in that action was a couple of words about the mind and a couple of words about what reality is and this and that and the other thing. And it was all stupid, and none of it really added up for me. I didn't think any of it made any sense, and I didn't think any of it was particularly correct. This one kind of raises more questions than it answers, especially when they're talking about ideas as if ideas are viruses. And what's the difference between an idea and a virus? Are they parasitic or are they symbiotic? Do we have control over ideas, or do our ideas have control over us? And it starts layering itself in the story to the point where I started questioning if anything in the movie was real, especially towards the end. Yeah,
I think we're supposed to think that the whole thing was a dream, I guess.
Or just to maybe question whether or not the whole thing was a dream, which...
Yeah, because it didn't make any sense. Like, it kind of went from they were trying to extract from that first guy's mind to, I forgive you, but you guys got to do a job. It just kind of went too quickly from the two, between the two things.
It did, yeah.
Natural.
It came up really...
I guess they just forgot all about extracting whatever they needed from that guy's mind.
Well, I think he was just testing them. I think he, from what I understood of the dialogue, and maybe this is another thing where we have to go back and watch it again, but I was under the impression that was just kind of their field test that he was setting them up to do.
So he hired them to extract from his own mind? Did I miss that? It's possible.
I think maybe.
I think I zoned out for 10 seconds one time, and I might have missed it.
That's the thing, is that you really have to pay attention to this movie. I had to leave to go to the bathroom at one point, and I was kicking myself in the ass for it because I didn't want to miss anything, but apparently I didn't miss much, just like a roundup scene or something. So, But on top of the fact that this has a really good screenplay with a lot of really good ideas in it, the special effects in here are really good. And I was surprised by the fact that there actually weren't very many of them. You have like a few really big set pieces, but then most of it is just the story, and I always like that. But there's a zero gravity scene in here where I don't know how the hell they did it.
That was awesome.
It was awesome, and it's so refreshing for me to see something that isn't obvious, because everything is done CG these days, and you always know how it's done. I don't know how they did that. I kept expecting them to cut. I couldn't believe how many people were in that scene and how long they shot.
Yeah, there were people, objects, everything floating. It looked like they were in space.
It did. That had to be one of.
They could have done it.
It had to have been the most complicated thing to shoot, and they're shooting for a long time, and so just visually, this was very impressive. Overall, a really solid film. Like I said, it didn't make me go crazy. I'm not really jumping out of my chair saying I have to go see this again soon, but it was really good as far as Christopher Nolan's films go. I think it's probably his third best. I don't know if you saw Memento or not, but
a long time ago.
Oh yeah, it's kind of along those lines of taking one idea and running to its furthest extremes. So I thought it was really good.
I agree.
So that's about it for us. Thank you all for listening, and we will see you all next time.